Hi everyone, Andrew Pascoe. I'm our VP of Data Science Engineering at NextRoll. We are a marketing tech company that provides marketing tools for B2C clients as well as B2B clients. So yeah, I have a few case studies on things that we've built and how machine learning and AI play roles in these things. So I kind of wanted to start out with turns of phrase that I think are actually really useful for keeping in mind when designing ML products, both internally and externally. So the first one, just straight up being like knowledge is power. It's kind of one thing to say, hey, like we've got like some great AI and ML stuff, but you really want to be delivering your clients insights. Like, why is this thing choosing to do the thing that it's doing? How can it help me understand the world better so that I can do my job with higher quality? That which is measured improves. Everyone using a product has some type of goal that they're hoping to get out of it. The better that you can measure that goal and show how your tools are improving that metric, the more value the client's going to see out of the product. Time is money, super basic. ML should be trying to like speed things up. Obviously, there's a bunch of dimensions here, but you could potentially speed something up at the same quality. That's still a win. If you get higher quality and things are faster, all the better. And then finally, I think this last one's actually really important, particularly for engineers and product managers. All models are wrong, but some are useful. We could talk about hallucinations and things like that all day, but really like at the end of the day, can you actually just like gain some utility out of whatever product you're shipping? It doesn't need to be the best thing in the world or get things right 100% of the time. If you're gaining in these other dimensions, start shipping it, get feedback, get more data, improve it over time. So what do we have under the hood at NextRoll? Actually, we have a variety of machine learning models. I know we've been like generative AI is like the really big thing in the news right now, but all of like these different models are improving and there's active research in all of them. LLMs are like really having their heyday right now, but these other things are super important. Not every product is best served by an LLM. So we use generalized linear models. This is particularly useful when we're trying to predict like the probability of like certain outcomes. So we use this in our bidding algorithms. We use recommender systems for dynamically changing display products, things like that, to be personalized to an individual user. We do use LLMs with some deep neural networks, particularly for text classification, extracting information to kind of speed up people's jobs, as I mentioned before, and also surfacing insights and user segmentation. And finally, there's the external vendors thing. So ChatGPT, we have some API calls for that. As I kind of write here, these ML systems, the way that they work, they're a function not only of like the algorithm underneath it, but the data that gets fed into them. So leveraging other people's specialties and data that they've managed to collect, that's good for us and it's good for our clients. I'll start jumping into the case studies on the next slide. So we've been in the ML space for about a decade now. I joined NextRoll 11 years ago, first data science engineer, and this is kind of where we started bidding algorithms. How do we pay for ad placements? BidIQ is what we call our bidding engine. This is kind of like a set of GLMs that make a variety of predictions. There's a bunch of auction theory stuff. How do we actually price ads? What does the opportunity look like based on the user, the context that the ad could show up in? But one of the things that I really care about is that this stuff isn't a total black box. Like, hey, like we're making predictions about stuff. How can marketers leverage the fact that, hey, we're making, 150 billion bids a day, well, actually we price more than that. We have 150 billion auctions, but there are lots of options for those different auctions. Like, what do we want to show? So how can we like leverage those predictions to actually provide those insights, that sort of knowledge is power type of thing? So here you'll see like, yeah, like we're kind of like bidding and like we're responsible for the economics of your ad campaigns. But as a marketer, what can I get out of that? So, we can show things, hey, our machine learning is detecting that there are certain countries where you're most likely to get your clicks or most likely to get your conversions. You can even see some stuff on this example. It's like, well, Switzerland has a high click probability, but only a medium conversion probability. What does that mean? I think that's for like a marketer to start to tease out and kind of dig into their data. Is there something compelling about the product for Swiss users, but there's some sort of friction in the flow where they kind of fall off. So the idea is that we can provide, through like leveraging our predictive capabilities, like how can a human take this and actually perform modifications to their marketing strategy. So I mentioned dynamic creative. This is where we use recommender systems. Traditionally, you would just kind of blanket things with like a particular ad, with a particular message. Maybe you would break that out by geographic region, or you'd have some sense of the audience, like for a TV show or something. But we can actually do like much more powerful stuff than this now. So creatives themselves can just kind of change based on an actual user's preferences, but also the context in which those ads show up. So here we have two ads. They're fundamentally like within our system, like the same ad object, but we can swap things out. We can show you different products. We could change the background color of the image to match a particular page. We can change the call to action. You'll see the like a slight difference here: hurry, buy while supplies last, or order while supplies last. And really, once again, start to surface those insights to our clients to help them iterate on their marketing messages. Once again, because this is personalized, generally like the more options you give us, the better we can tailor things. One thing that's really critical to understand when dealing with large populations is that sometimes the thing that looks the worst is actually the best performing thing for maybe the worst performing audience, right? So the more options we have, the more ability to tailor is a really nice thing. But they're still dealing with complexity and things like that. Marketers still like to be in control of their messaging. Down here, you'll actually see where we kind of turn the ML on. So we may have been showing like these two calls to action, shop now versus buy now. And you turn the ML on and already like they start to diverge. So we start showing one more than the other. So marketers can kind of look and see what's happening with their ad campaign and kind of speculate about what they might want to do next. Right, so here's this external ChatGPT thing. For B2B clients, sending emails is a major thing. Super easy to just kind of plug into like the ChatGPT API and get a nice email out that could be relevant to a particular client or account. I will admit that I did pick this email because it does talk about trying to sell an AI and ML product, predictive analytics. But yeah, like we totally like generated this like whole cloth through ChatGPT. However, despite being really easy to kind of hook into these APIs and just get some nice, reasonable stuff out, there's like this whole notion of prompt engineering, right? So you don't just necessarily, like, it's important to have a differentiated product. When we actually pass things into ChatGPT, client might type out what they want, but we can add a bunch of additional context that we know about the client that they're trying to reach out to, who our client is, like what business are they in, potentially any additional touch points that happened with this account or things like that. Or in the case of pulling in CRM data, you know, like whom are we talking to? What's their position at the company? Have they been at previous companies that may have used like similar technology, or they used your technology in the past, but now they're at a new company, things like that. So you can kind of layer in all of this stuff to actually get something that a client in theory could get if they spent all the time doing the prompt engineering with the ChatGPT account themselves. But this saves them time, and we have that expertise on the types of context that are the types of context to put into the prompt that's most likely to get a positive response out from the marketing campaign. So yeah, this is an LLM where I think Andy mentioned BERT. We use like SBERT for this, but then trained an additional layer on top. So this is kind of a combination of using other people's strengths while training like a sub-model, additional layer on top with our own data. So we have this product for SDRs. When they have accounts, they want to keep tabs on what's happening with those accounts. So we subscribe to a bunch of RSS feeds. We just pull down those pages, we scrape out the text, we pipe it through like this LLM. Once again, not necessarily for a generative thing, but more for classification. And then we can extract information about those articles and say, hey, like this article is about this particular company, and this is a type of thing that's going on with that company. Like they have raised money, they've filed for bankruptcy, don't contact them and sell them something. They've launched some new products or things like that. And then when an SDR comes into the dashboard, they can actually see what's going on with their accounts and whether or not it's valuable to reach out to them. So you'll kind of see on the kind of the far right here, you know, Tesla might be within client's CRM system. We say, hey, we see like some news signals. Hey, there are like 4 articles about them launching a new product. And then you can kind of click through and you can see the articles that that we've classified. And then you can click through and you can like read them to get more details out if that's what you want. But for the most part, we're kind of focused on extracting the salient details so you can kind of look at things at a glance. One thing that was like really fun is when we were prototyping this, actually for NextRoll itself, we detected that Rolly joined the company. We're like, we're onto something. So we could see that we were already detecting, you know, major changes at companies just within the prototyping. So we wanted to find a good way of getting this into the product.